Hello everyone, welcome to the new companions. This is episode 16. And I have two amazingly awesome guests with me today. I have Sound and I have NinjaMonkey 0169. And today we're going to be talking about an interesting topic. It's going to be the Crown Store. My God, yes, the Crown Store, which has had some backlash recently, or even probably more so, like even, before that, I don't know. I've just noticed it a bit more recently. But I'm going to introduce our guest very quickly. My voice is a bit hoarse today. First of all, Sound, hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing quite well.
Just quite well? Not like
Just
amazing well? I guess it's Sunday, it's not too bad.
It's a day. I don't experience the normal Monday through Friday just now, but I'm doing pretty good. Hanging out here with some fun boys, and we're gonna talk about some fun hot topics.
So what do you do? People are listening to this on different places. Maybe they just want to know a little bit about you and what you actually do.
So my username on Twitch, of course, is Sound Illustrations, because I go by Sound. That's kind of like my handle name. But I do music, or I don't do music. I do art mostly, and then I do video games. And I hang out and just have a good time. I'm not really here to do this for full time. I just do it for fun kind of thing. We play video games, so a combination of ESO, various MMOs, and story-driven content. And definitely love, like, we're super into Pokemon. Like, when Sword and Shield comes out, gonna be into that. So, but that's what we do. We like to hang out and have fun.
Awesome stuff. Okay, all the links for these guys are going to be in the actual description as well. So if you do want to go and check them out, I would highly recommend them to go and check them out on Twitch and all the places. NinjaMonkey 0169. How are you doing today, sir? Are you good?
Tremendous.
You're tremendous. I am just tremendous. Amazing.
It's a subtle fat joke, but yeah.
What do you do on? What do you do?
We are content creators for Twitch and YouTube. We dabble in Twitter, not very well, but we're working on it.
You dabbled in Twitter and working on it.
Yeah. Mostly the Elder Scrolls Online. We do play other games, Fallout 76. We're looking at doing a Gears of War 5. Really got excited when I was watching it on this guy's channel during his Baldathon or something. I don't know, like that. It was pretty cool though.
It is a lovely game indeed. So cool. NinjaMonkey does a lot of housing as well on Elder Scrolls Online when he streams. He is a housing mancer, I think he calls himself.
Is it a lot?
I mean,
it feels like a normal amount.
A normal amount? I mean, I don't do it at all. So, I mean, compared
I've only
to me.
just now gotten into housing, and I've been playing since 1 Tamriel, a little before that.
Oh, wow.
So.
Oh, there you go. It's an exciting time to be a housing mancer.
Well, housing stuff comes up on the store, which is what we're going to talk about today. This is a topic that I wasn't sure if I really wanted to tackle, in all honesty, because there's been some recent things happening in the UK, funnily enough, actually, which means that if the English government are picking up on something, and they're not getting money out of it. And, well, they must be getting money out of it at some point in time, in terms of all the things. Basically, if the English government are worried about something, it's got to be pretty bad, potentially, because normally they don't give a rat's ass. That's just my personal opinion. And it could get into politics, but we're not going to do that. But basically, so what we're talking about is the Crown Store. If you don't know what the Crown Store is, Elder Scrolls Online. I'm not talking about the English government are against the Elder Scrolls Online, just in case you're wondering. It's just generally they had some people coming into the government, some politicians asked them some questions. It was mainly around things like loot boxes and people paying money for stuff on store in games like FIFA, Fortnite, and other stuff as well. Which is going to be a little bit about this conversation, but it's more specifically about Elder Scrolls Online and the store, whether or not we feel that it's too expensive, whether or not we think it's just right, whether or not we think it's value for money, and all these things, because people have mentioned a few bits and pieces, and actually Sound said something the other day on Twitter which kind of triggered me to be like, okay, I've been thinking about this, and now this is a person I've wanted to have on here. This is a good thing to talk about. Now I can have them on the podcast. So I thought this would be a good idea. So what I'm going to start with really is, how do you guys feel generally? Not talking about something specific, because it's a very general question. But when you're shopping on the store, do you feel like generally it's quite do you feel like it's fair? I mean, obviously there's so many different products, and we're going to talk about them all. How do you feel when you're on there? Like, is it like, oh god, this is really expensive, or oh, this is okay, or what are your very general, sweeping feelings about it? Sound, sorry, you can go.
I usually feel like I wish I could get this in game, because as someone who does a lot of like PvE and light PvP content, I feel like I when I get my skins, I have nothing else to hunt for. I'm just gold grinding, and I will admit I use the Tamriel Gold Exchange, Crown Exchange, because then I have something to dump my gold into. I feel really disappointed because I went back and I started playing like Activision Blizzard's game World of Warcraft. They have so much in their game that I can just sit there and grind out by just playing the game instead of putting crowns into Elder Scrolls Online. Guild Wars 2 has their crown to gold conversion thing as well too, where you can grind out your gold and get your in-game currency. So it's kind of a dump that way too for the economy. But I want to play a game. I want to be rewarded for either like achievements of time or achievements of skill and earn it through that. So I'm a little disappointed that games are slowly taking away features, even if it's just cosmetics, which cosmetics is part of playing your game. You want your characters to look good. You want your houses to look nice.
Yes,
that's part of the enjoyment.
MMOs. I mean, MMOs is all about, we all know fashion is the end game, really. I mean, I started doing it at the end of my stream for like an hour yesterday.
And I do have a bit of a high horse opinion on it. Like, it's an unfortunate thing that everything's all like gotcha and like just broken down, nickeled and dime and stuff like that. And it's not fair to anybody playing it. Like, what happened to just games just being one done, sent out, and DLC was just an enhancement or something like that? The whole cash shop thing, we were like, oh, this is just a mobile game thing, but now it's coming into mainstay games that are not mobile games. So at this point, this issue has gone beyond mobile games, and the Crown Store definitely reflects that environment because all the other big games are doing it. So they're like, oh, well, we have to do it as well to stay competitive, because obviously that's the trend and that's what people want, whether it's true or not.
And people do it so that, only encourages it as well. And people aren't going to stop. They're just not. We can talk about it, like, we can talk about it till the cows come home, but people just won't stop. I mean, the big you linked me some Jim Sterling videos. I've been watching him since I can remember. One of the first people started bringing this up years ago. And now governments and people are talking to him as a professional about these kind of things, which is kind of cool, actually, because Jim Sterling's pretty awesome.
Yes. Okay,
well, before we start getting further down the line, let's ask NinjaMonkey at 0169. Am I calling you Monk today? Or am I calling you... What am I calling you, sure?
Whatever's easiest.
Whatever's easiest. Jim. Is that okay? Or just one word. How do you feel generally? Just sweeping comments about like the store.
Sweeping comments. I like to support constant support of the video game. So the concept of the one and done, like Sound was saying, is over with. Constant support model where they keep employees on hand to fix, enhance, break sometimes. The game costs money, so I like to support them, and I consider video gaming my hobby. And as hobbies go, even pounding the Crown Store on a quarterly basis, with large quantities of cash, is cheap by comparison. to most hobbies out there, really. Like if you were a woodworker or something like that in your spare time, the tools for that would be vastly exorbitant. And I do feel that some people take, their hobby or sometimes gambling way too far, and that's a personal control thing. But yeah, I like supporting the content creators.
There you go. I mean, that's another view on the thing. It's all about how, I guess, our perspective, what we're doing with the actual thing, the content in the first place, and that's cool. That's absolutely fine in that respect. And I kind of agree with that as well. We should, if we want to support the game, and we want the game to keep going, barring subs and whatnot as well. And some people don't pay for a sub; they just buy something off the store every month. It's important that people do buy stuff, but then it's also important to think, is this priced? Is this too expensive? Is this worth the money? Is this encouraging certain things?
Oh, worth the money? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
That's what we're going to come to.
Digital content. This isn't real life, tangible things. If you move on to another video game, this isn't coming with you.
Yeah.
This is a hobby. This is an extra. This is a form of entertainment.
And the other thing,
which is good for your mental capacity or whatever like that. It's very important for mental health.
And if God forbid anything were ever to happen, like ZeniMax decides, hey Zos, because ZeniMax, so it's ZeniMax and then ZOS is underneath it because they're online studios. And ZeniMax basically is the dictate, like, here's your allowance, little ZOS, here's what you can do, and here's how much money we need you to generate. They can afford a lot more. If you go and look up ZeniMax's earnings and how much they're worth as a company versus ZOS, they can definitely afford to support the studio a lot more. So like, I agree we should support content creators and everything like that, but at the cost of what? And being that this is a digital hobby, if the game were to shut down, all of that investment is gone because this is a digital-based game.
At the server, that'd just be the end of it.
Yeah. Everything that you would have is just gone forever.
Escalated quite quickly.
So there's a couple of rabbit holes with that. Like, it's not that it's flawed logic, but it's that it's very unfortunate that ZeniMax Media Incorporate strangleholds the sense of the creativity and says, we need this cash up to make this much money. So go out and do it.
That's very. I don't really know anything about this specifically, but I don't think it's definitely not a unusual thing to happen. The
money's definitely funneled to the top. Like that's.
I mean, that's just
it's the trend in every other industry.
It's the same with NCSoft with Guild Wars 2. It's the same with EA. It's the same with all of these guys. And this is a general.
You see NCSoft and Perfect World constantly canning their games if they're not making money.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like God Lord WildStar and anything.
And those are just Western games that you can name off the top of your head. There's a lot of more Eastern games that are constantly getting canned, and they have far worse microtransactions built into their game, where they have like pay-to-win features and stuff like that. ZOS's is more pay for convenience and pay for cosmetic, which are still part of the game, but you're paying for it instead.
Yeah.
Whoa! Part of the game. There's other parts of the game.
Somewhere. I mean, they do exist. Okay, right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start going down the list I have. Now, every show I have a document which I send out to these guys. It's just notes that I kind of have. I don't know if maybe I'll start sending this out to the chat if it wasn't so messy. But it does have some nice information, like how much crowns are worth, for example, depending on how much you spend on the store. Now, I went down the rabbit hole on this, unfortunately. I started working out things, because I'm interested. Once I start researching, researching is a thing that I enjoy to do. Enjoy to do? Wow. I can speak English perfectly well, people. But so just as a little bit of a background, tiny bit, basically, so in Belgium, this might have been about a year ago as well. They actually banned, or were in the process of, did they ban loot crates from was it FIFA or something like that a while ago, and I think they're doing it generally. Like I think they're actually banned for Guild Wars 2. Someone might have to just 100% confirm that for me in chat or wherever. But it's basically, so if you don't know what a loot crate is, or a black lion chest in Guild Wars 2, or a crown crate in ESO, you basically open a crate and you have a chance to get something. So, you know, in Guild Wars 2, for example, you got 3 slots in ESO. And I'm talking about Guild Wars 2 a lot as well, because I play that as my other main game. But in ESO specifically, you get a certain amount of slots, turn over a card and you get something. It's all RNG, it's all luck. There's no skill or anything involved. You pay money, you open this thing. Okay, it's a bit like a slot machine, I guess, in a way. You pull the lever down, you know, the things come. Or like you probably get a little bit more of a reward from an ESO than in a casino. Dopamine. Yeah, it's the old dopamine hit indeed. Ever since these came out, personally, I've always hated them. I think they're the worst thing in the world. I do get that feeling as well, which I also hate. And the other day I opened 15 because I was doing some research. I was like, is this worth it? It's, you know, I did it on stream. I felt good. I got 3 mounts, you know, which was really lucky. and, you know, it was, for me, it was fun and it was enjoyable, but I kind of felt bad doing it because I was like, this is research, but I got 3 mounts. And it's like, okay, so I'm kind of feeding this thing. But in the UK, as I mentioned at the beginning, they're actually brought in people from the marketing from Epic Games talking about Fortnite, and also someone from EA specifically talking about FIFA, and about the idea that these crates, for example, and these card packs or whatever in FIFA, and specifically in FIFA, like if you open a card pack, for example, you can get something which can make you better at the game because you get a good player or something. So it's technically a bit pay to win. Just
to make sure we're on the same page, FIFA's the soccer game, right?
Yeah. Soccer game, that's right. Soccer/football if you're in Europe. Wow, what's that noise?
I thought you might key in on that.
Yeah. I had to. But so basically you could get a pack, and this is their worry, you know, they're worried about kids spending money on these kinds of things. And I think they did a poll or something where, you know, like 11 to 13-year-olds, like 31% of the ones they asked had like paid for, you know, loot boxes. And there's stories about people spending like $62,000 or something on RuneScape, which is something Sound actually linked to me as well. So Sound can probably talk about this even more, but you know, this is just giving you an idea of the world. So I'm setting the scene right now. This is not specifically my opinion. I'm just kind of giving it as information. The loot crates could be starting to face a little bit of a backlash from people, you know, and parents and people worried about these things. And, you know, we might be talking as adults, you know, Ninja saying, you know, I want to support Zos, and there's very much that side of it. And then there's also the other side where people spend an insurmountable amount of money on these things. And, you know, MMORPGs being the things, you know, for us, it's not just for Christmas, you know, it's kind of, you get very invested. It's almost like a second life. And then when you start to, you know, gamble on these things and pay for loot crates and stuff like that, it can get worrying, I feel, for people, because MMOs are addictive. You know, video games are addictive, and this is an important thing to remember. And also the fact that, you know, they help people as well. So I would rather keep them helping people than taking people's money. And, you know, them obviously, you know, turning away from it and completely in the end. Wow, I'm not on my soapbox or anything. I just went off on one. Apologies. It's just a mental health thing. And you know what I'm like with that kind of stuff.
It's extremely predatory. Like there is a copyrighted design how to, quote, target whales and how to target people to get them to spend more money at all levels, high spenders, medium spenders, and low spenders. And they literally break down the mechanics, what you should put in a gatekeep for different games. Like, this is for other games, but you can kind of see it in ESO, especially now. As much as we love Twitch drops on so many levels, it also has a flip side for the business. The gems that you get out of the Twitch crates kind of put you like, oh, I just need 20 more gems. I'll just buy a loot box and then I'll get that last 100 gems I need to get the skin, or the 400 gems I need to get the mount that just came out in the new loot crate season, or something like that. So that's a way that they target in low spenders. And then they have the high spenders where they're buying the houses and stuff like that, and they're buying the housing packs. So as you can see, there's a wide
I
variety.
qualify as a high spender.
So it's definitely very targeting on a mental health level based off of the economic status of the player, and it has very many different ways that it targets people. Like there are people who are like, oh, I want gold in this game, I don't have time, I'll use the crown exchange and I will buy $50 because I work a 40-hour work week and I just need a little gold here to buy something in game.
Yeah.
So I'll exchange the crowns I have for the gold that I need.
Okay.
So that's just how it is. Like whether it's for better or for worse, and it's an unfortunate practice that does prey upon people who have different mental addictions.
Fair. That's fair enough. Absolutely. Ninja, how do you feel about the whole loot crate thing? You like, and someone said it in chat, you know, like what about games where you don't pay for a sub fee, you don't pay for the base game? Like how do they make money? I mean, Jesus, you don't have to, you know, go for it and say, you know, how do they make money? But just to, you know, add that. I mean, there obviously are other ways, but how do you feel about the crown crates? Like you probably open them on stream, much like I do. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I do 60 crown crates per season. So when they come out with a new season, that's me capping myself, because like you said, if you're not attentive on this, it can become an addictive thing. And I recommend that everybody give themselves a cap that's within their budget. I advise everybody have a budget, and that somewhere in that budget it says entertainment this much, and then don't overspend, because it is, and it, you know, it's not just crown crates, it's our entire Western civilization has this deep-rooted advertising campaign for every little thing, particularly with the computer algorithms now suggesting what different types of toasters that you might enjoy. It's very easy to get carried away with things that are shiny and pretty and useless.
So Ninja's telling us that he has 7 different toasters, all different colors with lights and everything. Is that what you're trying to say?
Don't kink shame me.
Listen, Thursday Blue Toast Day is very important.
Blue Toast.
I got one that puts a little John Wayne on there. It's very important.
My boyfriend already informed me that we have to get the Razer toaster when that comes out, actually. So
yes,
that's happening.
Wow.
Is that the 17-inch model with the touchscreen?
And it's gonna have it's gonna be chroma keyed, and it'll sync up with the rest of your chroma products and put a little Razer burn into it.
But we can agree on the point that these fancy shiny things are unnecessary in our lives.
Correct.
This is a first world problem, and it's one that, since we're living here in the first world, we need to address, and it's important to talk about.
Exactly.
So my first thought about that is, it's entertainment. It's a hobby. It has a place in our lives, but we need to define what that place is for each individual, based on your involvement with it and your actual income.
And it can be hard to have that conversation and have that grip on your reality, especially if, like, for me, Guild Wars 2 was my wake up call, because I got really big into the fashion in that game, and really big into like, oh, I can have unlimited character slots as long as I keep putting money into this and throwing my credit card at it. I maxed out a credit card in college. I was super, super, super depressed, and no one was there to talk to me and tell me what to do. The MMO was an escapism, and the money was just whatever, just put it on the credit card.
I like the term wake up call. I had one myself. Pre-video games, actually. Magic the Gathering card-based game. Yeah.
Wow.
As soon as I had an actual income, that went from hobby to
obsession. Addiction?
So
That's the
we had to
obsession, addiction?
we had to dial that back really quick. Did you have a wake up call, Jebro, at some point? Have
No,
you
I actually have
dialed yourself
never.
in?
I've never dealt with this because, and actually, I didn't even know you guys had that. So that is actually
You
completely.
didn't know we had Magic the Gathering?
No, I know. I mean, I
Oh my
definitely
god,
know
let me
that.
go get my
I'll transfer you.
Kamigawa
Oh
games.
god! Let me show you my obsessions. This is what put me
it doesn't
in.
have to be. It doesn't
Oh
have
no,
to
I
be
know. Yeah,
video
yeah.
games or games.
Mhm.
Have you ever had a wake up call where you found yourself as a human being being way too involved with something?
I mean, I do, but that's a bit too deep for this podcast.
But I mean,
You already said no king shaming. It's fine.
But you know, I mean, and essentially, you know, what Sound is talking about. And you know, I'm literally you know, I'm about to start university, going into clinical mental health. I used to be a therapist, and addiction is something that I used to deal with. I had a client, you know, I've had clients in the past with drug addictions to different things, you know, grief counseling, depression, everything else. And that is, you know, why this is one of the things that is important, you know, to me, and obviously from the sounds of it to Sound and Ninja's thinking about it as well, obviously in terms of before when he was Magic the Gathering. But it is online now, so you can continue that if you wanted to. Don't go and play it, it's addictive. It is actually really good. But I'm gonna shut up now. That was the thing for you, Sound. So like, you know, like you said, you grabbed hold of that thing. And MMOs, they do help in video games, you know, to a degree. And I actually had, back when I was in therapy when I was very young, I actually had someone, a therapist, say to me, you know, this is an escapism, this is good if it's helping you, continue to do it, but track yourself, you know, make sure that you are not spending too much. I had that person there to tell me, thankfully. Because otherwise I could have. I mean, I think when I had video games, specifically when I was growing up and around that time, you couldn't buy these things. You couldn't purchase these things, which I'm thankful for, because I could have ended up in a similar situation. That's such a really interesting story as well, actually. But yeah, so it can be, and it's like anything, you know, we have to stress that, you know, this can apply to anything. It can apply to, you know, gambling. It can apply to drinking. It can apply to anything you can do regularly and get a good feeling out of. You know, you can be addicted to anything. So that's very important to remember. But then when it feels more predatory and it's more available and, you know, it's easy to do, you know, and you put your credit card details in once and then that's it. You know, it's important that that is monitored or capped in some kind of way, or, you know, there's some duty of care. I think it is important. And that may sound, people may be listening to this or watching this and think, you know, that's very Care Bear. You know, people just sort their lives out. They should just do this, that, the other. And it's like, we're not all the same people. That's not the way the world is. It's a way, you know, you have to think about the fact that these things exist. You know, there's horror stories of people, you know, like a kid racking up $62,000 or whatever. You know, a kid in the UK, like thousands and thousands of pounds because his parents one day put in this, you know, their credit card and they would just rinse them and they're in so much debt. Obviously, that is a parent thing. Like, if their kid is being able to get access to their credit card, I feel like that is a parent thing as well, obviously, but, you know, it's still responsibility of the company. You know, why is it so easy to do this shit? And that's another soapbox again, another time, because that's easy to do.
No, it's a important distinction when you're talking about things like what's the difference between an adult and a child taking on these issues. You know, we were talking about fiscal responsibility and setting aside, you know, a budget for this sort of thing. What's the allowance? You know, the child should be given an allowance for these things if that's within the finances. But yeah, just letting anybody run willy-nilly on this stuff is a horrible idea.
And what's happening is, yes, you should have a budget and everything. Having a hobby is great, and having limitations and knowing it. But what's happening is, like, I was playing the new Cooking Mama game. Let's just say, for an example, on
what's Cooking Mama about?
Cooking Mama is
Just
like a
real
little,
fast.
it's a mini game with like a lot of cool little mini game features. You cook recipes, you set up a farm, and you grow plants, and you go fishing. So it's just a fun casual game. It used to be exclusively on the Nintendo DS, but they recently released it onto the mobile market, and I downloaded it on my tablet the other night so I could just play the little game real quick in the bed.
So is it a microtransaction
It's riddled.
stylized game?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
riddled in it, and every 5 seconds, I'm getting a little pop-up saying, "Hey, buy this so you can make your game go faster."
I think for me that was Cityville. So yeah, I'm with you. Keep going.
Little kids will be like, "Oh, mommy, I need this so I can keep playing the game." They don't understand that that's costing them money, and maybe the parents don't understand that it's costing them money, because it's just saying, "Hey, keep playing more. Put in like 200 coins."
Like
It's called coins, it's not called dollars. And then you click on the cash app. Oh, 200 coins is $5. Okay, I'll get $5 kind of thing. So it's a lot of like, yes, the parents should have a budget limit on the kid, and yes, the kid needs to understand that that's money, but the game is literally encouraging you to put in money to continue to play it, and that's what's happening. So that's the mobile market game, and that's a trend, and their trends have been in terms of like how much money they generate. Like Clash of Clans, like you can open up, makes shit tons of money. And like all of these games, like EA and all the big third party producers are like, we want that kind of money. We want that in a AAA studio, and we want to make it big. And that's why we're seeing it in MMOs.
Phones, right?
Yeah, we all have phones, right?
Well, mobile
I couldn't believe
gaming.
you said that on the stage.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Mobile gaming is like is. I mean, thinking about like the Stadia, however you say it, whatever.
Where you don't own anything.
And like, yeah, I mean, when all this stuff like starts to come, you know, we're only going to need a screen basically, and a controller or a mouse and a keyboard or something.
And the blur between console, PC, and mobile is diminished because of Stadia.
Exactly. I mean, it's like all of this is and that's why they said, you know, like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even further along, like when I used to shoutcast for ESO and other companies, there would always be like, you know, mobile gaming is the future, and it doesn't necessarily mean on your telephone like having an app. It just means, you know, the accessibility to this thing, you'll be able to do it through your phone, because then, like you guys said, you know, we've all got cell phones, and so like that then becomes more dangerous. I mean, that's down the line. I don't know. I mean, it's very cool. Like, I like the fact that we're going to be able to do all this stuff, but it does scare me a little bit. Like, you know, like you say, and I've played these games. You know, Clash of Clans. I played. What is it? Clash Royale. The tower defense game. You know, which technically they kind of pay to winnie. If you want to get there and do it faster, and you want to be competitive, you have to spend money quickly, like to do it quickly, because otherwise you have to wait. And you know, we're human beings, and you know, greed is a thing, and we want the things and we want them now, and that's just the human, like, especially now. I mean, again, you know, soapbox, all that kind of stuff aside, you know, that's kind of the way the world has kind of become in a way, and that's just my own personal opinion. And I'm not saying this is everyone, but you know, we want the things, and we want the things fast, you know, advertising, and we've kind of been molded in this way, and it is scary. Just personally for me, just watching people I know, talking to people, clients, you know, and I've got this. People have talked to me in depthly about these kinds of things and their addictions to things, and it is, you know, I mean, it's always been there, but now more than ever, you know, because we've got the internet and all this stuff. We want the things, and maybe we'll want the things on the Elder Scrolls Crown Store, which I'm actually going to get back to right now, because otherwise I can start going on about other stuff.
It is kind of a box of worms, because it really does tie into the rest of our lives right now. It's all across the spectrum.
One affects the other. Like the fact that mobile games are allowed to do this, that it is seen socially acceptable, and there's not enough outcry against it. Other game producers are like, oh, okay, and you know, give us $200 so you can get a notable home, so you can put all your PvE achievements in it. That's basically what happened to me. That's why I got into housing.
Is it a good house?
I got the Falkreath house. because I could get it with gold because I didn't
Nice.
want to. I couldn't afford the crowns for any of the notable homes, so I didn't.
Yeah. Little sad that you can't gift houses.
Yeah, a little sad on that.
Without putting a ticket in.
But I mean, even then, that's putting money into the game, and these are really ridiculously priced houses. It's insane to me how much they cost for what they are.
Okay.
Wait. So you wouldn't buy $1,000 home?
Oh my God. Well, we're going to talk about this. We're going to get to this.
In-game digital content.
We
Would
are
you
gonna
like
get to
$1,000 home?
Oh my God.
We'll get there soon. I promise. We're almost there. Okay, so do you guys feel that maybe in ESO there could be? Do you agree with loot crates being in the game? Is this something you feel is fine? Do you feel like this is a good thing? This is absolutely what people should be able to just manage their own money, manage their lives, and just buy these crates, and the RNG is okay, and everything else. Like, I'm not giving my opinion about this. I'm just asking you guys. So, Ninja, do you think like loot crates, good thing, bad thing, like medium?
Crown crates.
Crown crates.
Are we talking about the same thing?
Crown crates specifically ESO related crown crates. This is an ESO
specifically
podcast.
ESO crown. Related.
Yeah,
I feel like the only acceptable answer to a question like this is we should all spend more time outside meditating in fields with grass-fed cows. That and any response otherwise is inherently bad and frowned upon in our current society. I find it as an alternative way to support my content creators who make wonderful things for me. And the best thing about spending money in this manner is if I disagree with something they're doing, I can remove my funds from their game.
Yeah.
Voting with your money is very powerful, but if you never spent any to begin with, you're not on the board. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no. I think you're saying like if this is something where you don't really contribute to it anyway, and you kind of just playing the game like a base level, you're not really paying for anything. You're not paying for a sub. You're not paying for DLC.
It's good to have a voice. And nothing speaks louder to people who only see numbers than decreasing their numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It would take a lot though, because like we live in a post-capitalist society where like voting for your wallet doesn't work on a larger scale thing, but with ZOS being small as it is, it can. And it's obvious that they're starting to wake up, either because they're seeing trends in other games and seeing trends with other government rules. I personally feel the whole Crown system, the whole store is basically content they could have put into the game that they could. I would pay more per expansion release if it meant that I could have more in-game content, stuff to do in the game, kind of thing, or pay my sub like $2 more. I'd rather do that because I'd rather have more stuff to do.
Are you talking about like skins or mounts or
everything?
The
fashion,
cosmetics, because
cosmetics to me are part of my
really
gameplay
content every single quarter in this particular game,
and they do it a lot. I agree.
With a huge expansion in the middle of the year that they call a chapter, which is super nice, and that chapter becomes DLC the following year.
That chapter that you can beat in like a weekend, though, that's the big issue with it. Like the chapters, you get one raid and a storyline that you can beat in a weekend, and you get an outfit if you pay extra for it, and you get an extra.
I don't know. I'm not a graphical engineer. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a stylist or a storyline writer. I don't know how many people it takes, how long to make this much content versus how long it takes us to consume it. I know in TV, it takes almost a full year to put out a 10 episode thing that I can binge today. So how fast it's made and how much it costs to make it, I don't know whether or not a faster release schedule or something like that is even possible. I can tell you I am enjoying the release schedule, and I find that it's more aggressive than most other games. In speaking from ESO only. But yeah, I mean, room for room for improvement all the way around in every aspect of life, right?
I mean, think about so in terms of price point kind of thing, they could have released the Season of a Dragon as a standalone. Instead, they stretched it out because A, it's hype, it's B, trickle economics in terms of like that. It's an industry standard to release like how it has with other MMOs. You see it with like, it's an MMO standard in terms of like always having something to keep people to come back as games as a service. People don't play in between content releases, they play on the content release and then they're gone. But I'm thinking in terms of like games as a whole, because I could buy The Witcher when it was day one for $60 and I had 200 plus hours of gameplay. All the cosmetics were included in it and I still had replay value. Whereas
How much is base game ESO right now? Like
base
what's
game,
the cheapest you can get vanilla for?
$10,
you can get vanilla for I
maybe
think
$5.
if you do like a G2A key or something like that, like $10.
Yeah,
And how many hours of gameplay do you expect to get out of vanilla?
that's a lot.
I would say
$200.
maybe like 120. It depends
So-
on.
I mean, that's it's dangerous
Really all I'm
to
getting at is I feel like out of the gaming industry, the Elder Scrolls Online, which is our topic right now, I think is
Yeah.
is doing above and beyond most other distributors of this style of content, and I feel like they listen a little bit, just a little bit. They certainly have their agendas and they have to make their money and do their things, but I feel like they've got their ear to the ground a little bit, community wise, maybe a little bit.
The difficult thing is to remember as well is that there is a difference. The Witcher and ESO, there's a big difference. Live service being the main one, of course. We have to remember that that is a solo player experience. But there are complaints out there about there's less and less meaningful single player experiences out there. I think The Witcher is like Witcher 3 is like it's difficult to compare that to Elder Scrolls Online because it's maybe other MMOs and other live service games like even Division 2, probably
What
Ghost
about
Recon,
something
all
like
those games.
Mario Brothers 3? How many hours did you put into Mario Brothers 3? That game was $20, something like that. You had to buy the console, but right.
Yeah, well, that's like
$20,
if like how much
Consoles
does that
exclusives can always charge less for their games because you have to buy into the console, and that's a
Right.
guaranteed buyer for their next releases.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I put a pretty penny into my PC. But that particular company doesn't get that money. I agree with you. But yeah, I mean, it's all about. I don't know. I've got a little bit of ADHD, so digesting content is something really, really fast for me, and then I'm on to the next thing. But somehow Elder Scrolls has kept my attention for 5 years straight. Pretty difficult to do in this day and age.
Because again, it's different experiences, right? I mean, those games are invented to like complete, and then you're done. You move on. Like whereas like an MMORPG like ESO or Guild Wars 2 or WoW or whatever.
WoW's on 15 years now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In absolute insane. How long they've been able to keep their customer base satisfied. And
some would argue
the
not
microtransactions suck.
They do it without.
Satisfied.
They do
That's a loose word I'm using there.
And WoW did it without a cash shop for years and years. I think retail now has a cash shop as of like Mist of Pandaria.
Yeah, but look at the graphics.
Well, they sell mounts for like
that's
$20.
That's a preference thing.
I mean, there
Totally.
is arguments about there are people who play WoW that are very much against the shop as well in the same degree that we've talked about here as well. But it's important to remember, like so talking about crown crates, like me specifically, I think for me the problem I have with crown crates is that, and Black Lion Chest and Guild Wars 2 and just any kind of thing where you have RNG and it's not something that you can control, is that it does have that idea of that instant like hit where I'm feeling good for a moment and then I get 4 poisons. And then it's like, okay, but then I can trade it for gems. And then, like, you know, Sound said before, you know, if you can buy more crown crates, you can get more gems. It doesn't matter. But, you know, you're still spending money. This is the problem.
Now the big problem comes at the end of that thought right there.
Yeah.
The Radiant Apex mounts. You can spend $62,000 in our game and not get one.
Yep.
Wait, where's that from? Is that like, are you just pulling a number
it's
out?
It's RNG. You can
Yeah.
infinitely spend and not get one.
Yep. It's complete. Like, that one's completely locked. If I would be less upset about Apexes.
Use the word predatory.
Yeah,
there it is. Radiant Apex mounts.
And they know it.
Zoss needs to fix.
And they know that's how they get the whales. That's their whale target. Whereas and they call it that. Like, they're trained into like, it's sales. Like, I've been doing sales and customer service for 10 plus years. And video game sales.
I wish you'd said that at the beginning. As I'm like talking, I'm just like, God damn it. Maybe I should get people's resumes before we start. Just like, geez.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, you learn. Selling is psychology in its sense, and people don't buy anything unless they're emotionally driven.
Yeah,
if you get their emotion,
exactly.
Yeah,
like on my Twitch stream, I only do the milkshake dance for the whales.
The milkshake dance brings them all to the
house. All of the art. But I'm not getting out of the chair and shaking it for you got to spend more than that.
Or doing the sit-ups and the, you know, I mean, you know, I've done the same thing. It's like the singing for the, you know, the Molag.
All the things, you know, I don't get out of the bath for anything less than $10.
Are you guys really doing it for the money, or are you doing it as a way to...
Oh, no, absolutely, to just rinse everyone of their money, yeah. I mean, no.
This is my profession, so yeah.
It's for fun. It's for fun predominantly. Obviously, there is a little bit of a drive. Like, if I'm honest, there has to be some... As a streamer, as a content creator, you have to, and this is my job, and I'm about to go to university as well. There has to be some kind of business mind behind it. Like, there is a thing.
Some kind of business mind behind it.
Yeah, I say some because, you know, normally I'm just ridiculous.
Just be working at McDonald's.
Yeah, well, there you go. Otherwise, I am kind of just ridiculous as it is. Like, because of how I, like, you know, we're talking about earning money. I'm very bad at that. I feel like it's just a personal thing. Selling myself is very difficult. I feel like, and this is why I don't do a lot of these kinds of things, because I feel like, you know, if people want to sub or donate or whatever, then, you know, they'll do it. But, you know, sometimes an incentive is nice, but I would never be like, you know, this is a pay to win thing in the stream, because it's like, and there's pay to win. You can now do everything.
You get any skin in the game.
Yeah,
we'll carry you.
But, you know,
no milkshake for under 200.
Yeah. I have to go and check out Ninja stream to know what we're talking about as well. There you go.
He's like, hold on, let me dust off the platinum.
Sorry, Sam, you had a point, and I think I interrupted. I can't remember. Was there more you wanted to say about that? I can't remember if there was a point we were on, and I've just completely gone off it. I think we didn't come to the end of the conversation, because that's the conversation we can have for Radiant Mount skins. That's right.
Yeah. And Ninja was saying that's the true predatory, and that's the top end for the money spenders, because they want that exclusivity, and that's what's driving them, is that exclusivity, because you can't get it through gems. You could buy everything out with gems except for those, and those are the down and dirty ones. Like, everything else, I can agree supporting Zoss and everything, because they don't see as much money as ZeniMax makes.
Yeah,
the main company. They as a small studio.
But the point being that if the big guys don't make their quota, they cut loose the little guys. Like,
they say, okay, WildStar, you're screwing up.
Buy WildStar, exactly. But with the Radiant Apex mounts, that's where that whole budget thing I was talking about comes in, because last season I really wanted all of the Radiant Apex mounts, the sand blown looking camel and cinch, and then they had the oil covered mechanical mount. Really liked all those, and that's where my budget came in, you know. So we did the 60. and that's it. You didn't get the shiny toy you wanted. Okay, you're cut off. That we're done now. We're no more. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. That little section of the game is. Yeah,
It's very
I would
unfortunate.
like to see that. I would like to see that addressed.
It definitely should be addressed, because even if they made it like they do the 400 gem weekend special on some of those mounts, and that's just that's a gem dump economy thing, because they know that gems are super inflated.
600.
The 600 dumps as well. It's the pets that are 400, right?
Yeah,
Usually
the pets are 400.
Mounts,
The mounts are 600.
and then they
mounts are
have like the
400.
top end
Mounts
mounts that are 400 that are always stable in the crate season as well.
Mm-hmm.
Jebro, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
Oh really? Hello.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
are.
I think my mouth moved. I didn't talk. Yeah. I mean, the gems. At least there is that, but then I think it kind of goes there's a circle where it just kind of goes back to the beginning of buying crates again. But I can agree with that. Like other than the radiant mounts, and I think it is so difficult because you want to sit here and it's like, member of the, I am a member of the ESO stream team, and there's loads of people who are. And, sometimes there's that worry, about what you're talking about, what you bring up. Like, how's that going to reflect on, your reputation as someone who's doing this kind of thing, and how critical can you be and stuff like that. And you're supporting this game in terms of you creating content and you care about it a lot. And it's sometimes maybe people feel like they can't talk about these things, they can't be critical, without sounding like a complete arse at the end of the day as well. And just like I said, we're all being very respectful right now. Just FYI, we all care about the game, which is why I just want to put this point in here, by the way.
I mean, yeah, we all love the game.
Exactly.
We've all played it for 3+ more years and everything. Ninja said he's been playing it for 5. We love this game. I love this game. I love this community that this game has created, more importantly. And that's probably why I'm as passionate as I am about it, because I've experienced the predatory targeting that MMOs and mobile games have, and I just don't want anyone to ever have to experience that ever again, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Absolutely. And, I think that's a credit to, players as well. Like, people actually give a shit. They actually care about this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna shift it over. I'm gonna shift over the conversation, because I think I think everyone can probably agree that those radiant mounts are kind of ridiculous, and that you know what, maybe just put them in the store and just sell them. All of this stuff
I don't mind
just be
ridiculous at all. Like, how about 1,000 gems? How about 5,000 gems?
Yeah.
Just put a definitive price on them, whatever it is, even if it's absurd.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna do it.
A solid number.
So you're saying as well, like, be able to purchase it somehow. Like, all these things should be purchasable somehow, rather than just complete RNG, right? I mean, percent chance to get the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think, in all honesty, maybe, I mean, crown crates and these loot systems, they exist because, people do use them, and probably they use them so much that, rather than just having, say, brand new mount comes out, $30 on the store, people will spend more than that to get the actual thing. I mean, it must be the reason why people keep having these crates, these things coming out.
So it goes back to that tier system I was talking about, what people are willing to put into the game.
Yeah.
Before the crown system, the cheap buys were costume bundles. Remember the original pirate costume? It was 4 costumes for 600 crowns.
Okay.
That was their idea of cheap buys. So most people would not. They would buy maybe 1 or 2 outfits. They'd buy those exclusive mounts every now and then. They made big money when they started doing housing because of the cost of the houses. What the Crown store offers is the $5 guys to get into buying into crowns and gets the people to be like, oh well, I just bought $5 worth of crowns, I can get a crate here, I got gems here, I have gems for the month with my sub on top of the additional $5 I just spent, so that's $20 total right there, and I have enough gems to get this and this, I get this outfit now. I even saw my collection started expanding like threefold after crown crates came out, because before all I was buying was like, I bought the ability to change my character's hair on the fly because I love having barbershop in my games.
Are you talking about Guild Wars 2, or is that ESO?
In ESO, like in all MMOs, I like barbershop because I like to make my fashion
Didn't even know it existed,
evolve with the character.
All right,
but ESO only has it where you can just change their hair if you buy hair packs.
Right.
They had that big pack that came out when they first introduced it, and a lot of us were like hoping it was going to be a gold dump, but it turned into a crown dump for it. I still bought it because it was 800 crowns. You got every base hair in the game and every base tattoo and piercing in the game, and it allowed you to change your characters on the fly without being charged a gold dump throughout the game. Instead, it was just an upfront 800. So kind of mixed feelings on it. Like, I don't have to constantly be grinding gold to change it, but still, it was a crown buy, that one pack. And then now every time when hairs come out, you can buy the hairs for like maybe 200 crowns or 50 gems if it's in the packs and stuff like that. So that's ultimately the reason why people got into crates, why ZOS went to the crate system, because they saw other games' success with people spending less because it was perceived cheaper and easier to get into with a microtransaction scale.
Okay. Suggestion in chat, actually, which I kind of liked. Maybe they should, and this is from Tuicat, maybe they should have type of crates like a random mount crate or a random pet crate. Actually is not the worst idea in the world, to be fair. Like, I mean, imagine this bit, you pay a little bit more money, you definitely get a mount, you definitely get a pet, but like, it could just be whatever. At least there's some more like definitive, like, I know what I'm kind of getting. But but then it could make it even worse, when you have more crates, then there's more crates and there's more things to spend your money on, and it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, so crates, I think, in a way, again, it's that kind of, whether or not we agree with them or not, again, it's make sure, lessen the RNG. Make sure that you are, watching yourself, like Ninja said earlier, put a cap on these things, if you know that whether or not you can afford these things. But again, at the end of the day, there are people out there who are going to be suggestive to this kind of stuff, and that's where it becomes very dangerous for people who, can be easily swayed. People in the place, where, we're talking about Sound earlier was talking about their actual personal experience. That is something that happens, to a lot of people. You're in this game, you might be depressed, you might be in a situation where you haven't got much, like, this thing is helping you, and you kind of get addicted to this thing, and it just, makes everything worse. And maybe there are people out there who, again, will probably say, who are listening to this, and if you have no empathy at all, that maybe they should not do that. Like, that's easy. I can't, I can do that. I can do that easily. I can easily be like, I'm not going to spend money. But not everyone is you. Not everyone is earning ridiculous amounts of money. Not everyone is not in the same mental place, and we're not all the same person. And we have to look after everyone, I feel like. And, I feel like this is the overarching part of the overarching argument or theme to the conversation in general, to be fair. Or that's what I'm thinking it is anyway.
And the side of the coin that I'm taking on that is education. Education. It's very important to expose these ideas, these little pitfalls, and these predatorial practices, so that people can learn from them and then put these limiters on themselves. Because I feel like raging against the machine is kind of pie in the sky right now. I'm not saying stop. I'm not saying stop raging against the machine and trying to get predatory practices shut down. Because certainly if we don't, they'll get wildly out of hand. The opposite
exactly.
Direction. But I want to focus my energy on education.
Education is
teach people what is happening that allows it to get out of control and how we can do something about that.
I 600% agree with that. And education is extremely important, but at the same time, when it comes to like not particularly ZOS, because they're not constantly badgering me, hey, pay me some crowns so you can finish this public dungeon. But
oh God, can you imagine?
But mobile games are the worst because they're targeting children, and they may not be educated, or they may not have the impulse control that we have as adults.
And the education might fall on the parents, which is a pretty common argument, regulating cell phone usage and computer time usage and game usage and, content in general. And like I was saying before, the only good answer to that is let's all go spend more time outside.
And it's hard for some people to do that, either because, and this is like a whole nother rabbit hole. Like
there's a ton of
there's tons of different
arguments to absolutely everything. But
it's just
focus on some education, do what we can do, and definitely do not stop raging against the machine. Always
exactly
bring any issue you can think of to the forefront, bring it to your community, educate everybody. Very important.
Exactly. And it's a very, very good mindset. Do what you can, but know what the limits are in the current state and hope for the best.
What was the old saying? Think globally, act locally. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because honestly, this is a small topic. We're talking about ESO. We're talking about the Crown Store.
It gets mixed.
The way it's addressed can be applied to Western civilization right now on almost every front. This is an important lesson for somebody to learn, that can be applied to politics or the economy or global recycle, reuse, all the way across. You need to be very, very mindful of pitfalls and addictive behaviors and the rest of your community, because maybe you don't have an addictive behavior, but your friend does.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you need to be comfortable with talking about that. Like that's the big thing. Mental health awareness it should not be as taboo as it has been for so long, and that you need to be comfortable with talking about it. Addictive behavior falls under it. Gambling falls under it. Fiscal responsibility falls into the mental health.
Is this why Jebro picked this? He's going into the mental health field.
I don't know. This could have been a subconscious.
We had a realization. We had a breakthrough, people.
This could be a subconscious thing for the week that I have coming up. I'm literally starting my course this week, so it could be a subconscious thing. It really could be. It actually absolutely could be. It is important, It's in, and I've got many opinions about mental health awareness, and people are more aware now than they ever have been, but they talk about it, but they don't talk about it.
They talk about tiny subject, huge implications.
Yeah,
huge implications here.
And that's probably another podcast. One I probably will have at some point in time in a more general way. Rather than just ESO. But I'm going to pull it back to ESO, and we're going to talk about the Crown Store. And I hope that I'm pretty sure most people will find this interesting, even though ESO is kind of the starter of this. But we've kind of branched out a little. But going back,
I don't mind bringing Guild Wars into the conversation.
I mean, and toasters, important.
And toast.
Yeah, toast is good. Wow, I don't eat bread anymore. Okay, so crown crates. Let's go. We've kind of done that. But generally, I think there's a feeling. The RNG on the high top tier free mounts or whatever you can get, ridiculous. But there are people that pay that money out there. Make all this stuff available. I think personally, I would love to see things where you can just pay for something that you actually want. And then you've got the option maybe for the crowns crates as well. That might make it a bit easier. I don't know. That's a very general sweeping statement.
So is that like a suggestion you'd like Sauce to hear? We'd like something to be absolutely purchasable and then maybe have an RNG chance at it.
Yeah, then at least you've got a choice, and I mean, the thing is, in personally, if I had my way, and again, this might sound really, I don't know, people use the whole Care Bear phrase or whatever. I don't care.
I'm a Care Bear.
Yeah.
What's wrong with being a Care Bear?
No, like
I'm a Care Bear. Fight me.
they should just get like they should just be burnt. Like they should literally get a fire and throw anyone should just throw like crown crates, any kind of shit where you can just RNG like that, and you pay for it. Just throw it into the fire. Like just go away. And like that, personally, that's something I would love to see. But if it's going to be here and it's something we can't control, like it's something that's going to be inevitably be here forever, like, but give people the option to just be able to buy the thing so that they've, if they've got a cap of like, $50 for the month, they can at least buy the thing. And it's not going to, send them into a spiral of like, spending shitloads of money on crown crates to get these things, and that's my opinion. I think options are good and help people to or give people caps, maybe of how much they can spend on their cap. But the thing is, then those people can't necessarily support the game in the way they say, like Ninja saying it earlier, where people do want to maybe spend thousands of dollars a month or hundreds of dollars a month because they just like the game. They've got the money, they've got the cash there. And, it helps the game continue and we can have the releases we have. So there's so many implications of like,
Caps are a very interesting idea. And I think the EU is looking into that right now, but it would have to come from a government. Money-making machines will not regulate themselves.
Yeah. And it would be so easy to do that. Just go into your program, be like, cap this card spending.
Yeah, you can self-inflict for sure.
I mean, people can do
that.
I mean, that's the education part that you guys are talking about as well. So again, that's more reliant on people. And I think
it would move us into a better conversation, I feel. It would show some goodwill from these games. And I'm not talking about the developers, I'm talking about like the big third-party publishers. It would put them in a better light if they started implementing those features. Because you could put it under parental controls easily, because parental controls can already block your spending. Might as well make it an option to have limited spending then.
I don't think you can do that on PS4.
You can do it on the consoles, yes. You can block spending on consoles.
And they have to go through the PS Store to buy crowns and stuff for PlayStation. So maybe that's so kind of technically you can do that on PS4 for ESO, I guess.
But PC players don't have that option at this current time.
Well, yeah, you'd have to go to your bank and put a limit on your card.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess as well, at least, and I think I've heard this, I think StarCrum said this as well, that most of the players that play ESO, and I don't know if this is 100% correct, are actually on console. So that's actually not too bad, I guess, between the two consoles.
Isn't that just a rumor that Tech and Junk's spreading? I'm
not sure. No. This is not Tech and Junk.
There's more accounts on console because you only have to buy the game once and then you can do the account.
But there are a lot of active accounts like on PlayStation, on console as well. I'm not sure if it's more people, but accounts like probably.
Oh sure. I had 6 on Xbox One and I would go around doing my dailies.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
you go on consoles? On console you were doing your daily?
When I first started streaming, I was on all 3 platforms.
Jesus Christ. Okay, right. I'm going to take it back before I start crying.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are. They should release them, though. That would definitely be good transparency.
Oh, we'd love to see all the analytics, wouldn't we?
I know, right?
That'd be nice.
There are some games do, but no one.
I think their legal department just cringed.
Yeah,
don't give the streamers the analytics. Don't do that.
No. Can't do that.
Okay, the Radiant mount. So I was actually looking just at mount prices. Actually, just to give you guys, I'm just gonna go through a little bit of like math information for stream and for people who are listening.
You didn't say there was going to be maths.
No, I didn't pass that in school.
I'm not even wearing glasses. How am I supposed to do this?
I have glasses. How can I do this?
I'll do it for you. It's fine. Okay, so crowns. I'm going to be talking about EU mainly. Dollars. America. US dollars, and maybe drop in
it's
EU.
Pronounced America.
Okay.
But
there are different ways that you can buy crowns, obviously. So this is a little bit of education. for people. So if you want to have 100 crowns equaling, so if you know, this is the way you maybe work out your budget for how you play and stuff like that. If you buy 750 crowns, it actually costs you $8, which isn't even 100 crowns per dollar. So 1500 crowns is actually just a tiny bit over 100 crowns per dollar, basically. And that is the cost, well, $15 is the cost in America of the monthly sub. So is an education thing, I'm going to say right now. And this is something that, you know, maybe there's a lot of new players that listen to this podcast specifically. If you are going to purchase, for example, 1500 crowns on the Crown Store, get ESO Plus. That is something you should be doing because you're going to get more crowns.
A month of ESO Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Also, these numbers sound a lot better when you convert this to pesos.
Yeah, bigger. They get really big, really fast.
It really feels like, which is why Crown Gems exist. Yeah.
You're gonna get definitely more gaming value too if you do the ESO Plus as well. Like
I thought for sure you were about to say pesos. Okay, go ahead.
No, like my roommate did the year subscription when Lynchel came out. She did that so that she could buy the Lynchel Grand Manor because she's a huge Imperial fangirl. So that was her driving thing. She was like, okay, I'll just pay for a year of ESO Plus and I'll get the house.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. And if you're into MMORPGs and if you love ESO and already know that, I do recommend picking up the 1 year subscription. Although if you don't know if you like the game and you're still, you know, knocking around which edition to buy before you get into it, I wouldn't even consider ESO Plus right off the bat. Yeah, just wait a couple months, you know, buy vanilla, knock it around a little bit, and then invest in the game a little bit more, you know, based on your enthusiasm for it. Because, you know, you don't want to dump $500 into a video game, you know, buy a console and the game just to play it, only to find out, you know what, I'm not that into Ritz.
Yeah, which you're gonna find yourself doing pretty much every day.
Yeah.
This is very true.
2 accounts worth of Ritz. Oof.
18 characters every day. Preach.
Can't do it.
Okay.
So tired of it. But it is what it is.
It is indeed. Just to continue down that line of.
Oh, but that's talking about maximizing your value if you want to be you know, a coupon clipper and make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. That's the way to go.
And most people don't do that. They just go, oh, I'll just buy the crown straight out, or they won't wait for crown sales. And that's another way to get more value as well, too, because the crown sales puts them a little bit better than buying like ESO Plus sometimes. And they know that, and they know that people are going to buy the year subscription, and they know that those people who buy the year subscription probably buy crown packs throughout the year. So that's even more additional income as well.
An interesting thought about that, and Jebro, you might chime in on this. I find that as an ESO stream team member, the codes they give me, people ask for the crown packs first, and then they think about the ESO Plus, which comes with 1,650 crowns. But they think, you know, they're like, oh, 1,500 crowns, I'll get that. Are you sure the ESO Plus gives you a month of subscription and 1,650 crowns? It's actually more crown. You know what I mean? Like, do you run into that?
It doesn't transfer over, I think. I mean, I when I have giveaways, I just say this is what it is. You ain't got a choice. So they don't have a choice. I don't actually give them a choice. Unless it's stated. In a subathon thing or something.
Oh, maybe I should be more rigid on my giveaways.
Well, I mean, people know it. Like, I'm always like, if people know what they're getting, choice is good. Choice is very good. But then, you know, specifically, if I'm normally it's a specific thing. But I mean, that's interesting because they hear the amount. They don't hear ESO Plus, do they? They just hear 1,500 crowns, and that's money. And that's $15. So it's like they hear that first, and then they forget. Oh yeah, ESO Plus. I forget. I get crowns. I mean, they should definitely sell that more to people.
And you know,
you get more crowns.
We were giving away what collector's editions of Elsewhere codes, right?
Yeah.
Which is a huge value right now. It's $60+.
Oh God,
for that, and people are still. Oh, give me the 1,500 crowns. What? All right, here you go.
People, man,
Enjoy.
people.
Don't you want the special edition mount and all the perks and bells and whistles in the
Yeah,
emote?
don't you want all the shinies? No,
I mean-
just the 1,500 crowns.
Okay. I mean, you're gonna be buying that horse anyways with the 1,500 crowns.
Yeah,
So
and then you can get the outfit and the flaming chicken or whatever the deal is,
Flaming
at the time.
yeah.
Okay, so ESO Plus then, worth it? You guys think? Like thinking about all the things you
yes.
get: access to DLC, free crowns, access to the craft bag, double bank space, bonus progression, extra furniture space, costume dyeing, double transmutation crystals, and exclusive access to unique crown store deals. i.e., getting small little miniature statues for free, so you can put them in. the
Yeah,
shop.
if
In
you
the house.
enjoy the game, I cannot recommend it highly enough, to the point where the game's unplayable for me
Mhm.
without it now.
You have to have it for endgame.
At my stage.
Is that bad,
the people
though?
Who've been playing for the people who have been playing for less than a year?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it
don't
goes
think
back
you
to the
need it.
old school.
I don't think you need it at all.
For me, I do the subscription because it comes out convenient for me, I guess, because I'm not sitting there waiting for the sales for the dungeon packs. Because the only
the sales.
the sales for the dungeon packs would be the only time it would be worth to pick up the dungeon packs if you aren't subscribed, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just easier to be subbed, get all the sub perks for it, and I can turn the sub off if I'm not going to play it and I'm going to be playing something else or something like that. So, and it goes back to like Days of Warcraft. You played the sub and you just sat there and you got nothing for it. You just had the game kind of thing.
Oh, so you're talking about the 1 month sub versus the higher packages, right?
Yes, I'm talking about the 15.
That's the one
Okay.
I
And
actually do.
I do the 3 month because usually content cycles are released in that amount of period. And if I go, oh, this content cycle, I'm going to sit out. Okay, cool.
I love that
good
right
idea.
there is a perfect example of voting with your money, because you're already invested in the system, removing your money for content that you're not appreciating.
Yeah, that's why I almost do
Love that.
month to month.
Great perspective.
That's why I do month to month as well. It's less value, but like in the end, like you're not saving as much money, but you can like, rather than I have just spent $140 for a year, I can be like, and I think it's just something I've always automatically done myself. Whereas ESO, I will definitely probably be playing for years, but like I still have that in my head. Like that's a good,
this
like,
will be a 15-year game for me.
yeah.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
This is definitely going to be a long haul game because the studio is so unique compared to any other MMO studio. Like, you know these people by name. Name a Activision Blizzard employee other than like Michael Chu and Lord Betson himself, you know?
I couldn't even say chew.
You know, like we know the developers, we follow them on Twitter, we watch their dogs grow and whatever they're grilling this weekend.
We
you know,
definitely
it's different.
I mean, we definitely have a unique perspective on that, because I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure that there's people who, you know, when World of Warcraft and when Warcraft started and all these things, like, you know, and well, there was no Twitter then, so that's rubbish. But like when World of Warcraft started, and I'm sure there are people that, you know, they have these similar collection. I do think sometimes we need to remember that we do have a unique access to these guys sometimes. But you're right, you know, on Twitter as well.
Community.
Yeah, no, that's very true. But like, as we are streamers, obviously we are like very involved in these different platforms. You know, there's a lot of people that don't have access. But you're right, you know, they are personable. Whenever you go, if you go to an event, and if you go to like an ESO like event, like I went to recently at PAX, for example, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, they will talk to you. You play the game, you know, you've got even if you don't play the game, you're just a friend of a friend who's just kind of hanging out, they'll spend time talking to you, you know. Sounds right. But we definitely, I mean, I just want to, not everyone has the kind of access we have, but you know, I think to a degree as well, you know, you can if you want to. It's not that difficult, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And in, you know, I think we're just saying we like the game as well in a way, and we feel like, you know, it's like Ninja said, community, and it's worth it for us. But you know, there is a point in time where we have to say, you know, is this worth it? Like, and people have said, you know, it's important to point out the pros and the cons of, you know, the store, the game. And this is what these podcasts are here to do, you know, to inform people, to educate people in a way, and to give them our opinions so that they can form their own. You know, in our opinion, ESO Plus is, I think, you know, we can, you know, say it is worth it. I have a different opinion, which is, it's not, I feel that it's worth it, but I feel there is one thing in there which I don't like, which I really don't like. And it is the craft bag space. And I think that everyone that plays the game and buys into the game at a base level should have some access to a craft bank, even if it's limited.
No.
They
No.
absolutely
I mean,
should
I'm
be.
thinking like,
Absolutely.
remember in other MMOs where you literally roll up an alt so that they hold all your junk.
Yeah,
that's true.
mules.
But so
That's part of the look. That's part of the fun.
Inventory management, yep.
Inventory
Yeah, but
management is
okay,
the
so
final boss.
counter thing.
Mhm.
I mean,
It is
I
the
know
hardest part of this game.
that. Go to any of my streams, I know that. It's
even,
like
even with a craft bag.
So ESO
the
decided
hardest part of the
I
game.
know.
I really like for them to come
I
out
know.
with a craft bag. I
they
got a
cut
lot
the
of
head of the
shit.
snake off with it, and they said, "Okay, you're paying us a $15 sub. Let's give you the craft bag. You could, out of your 18 character slots, decide to make one a junk mule. I have to do that on my alt account that I have. I don't have ESO Plus on a second account, so I make
is
one
true.
guy the junk guy, and then do writs on
I mean, it's easy to
the other
do,
characters.
Like you said.
It's hell. It's hell. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's. I
you're
mean,
sitting there.
but as a
But-
new player, like, I mean, it's just, again, it's a very personal thing, and I know that I'm probably a very small minority. But it is a bit like, you know, and I feel like the crafting bag, you know, it is a major, because everyone's like, well, you get a crafting bag, and my first thought when I heard that was like, well, you know, if I pay, you know, if I do this in this other game, or if I play Guild Wars 2 for free, I actually get 250 slots for one item for free, and I don't have to pay for the game. Saying that, Guild Wars 2, you know, obviously you can pay for additional slots.
Yeah,
for
Guild Wars
more
2 is a very
items.
unique beast because it has an Eastern model with a lot of its microtransactions,
Yeah.
and it does have that gold to gem dump. So their
Mhm.
economy is a whole different beast, and their target audience is also a different beast. Crafting
Ooh.
in both of
Mm.
those games are
Uh,
very different as well.
Do you prefer it?
Do I? Oh
Um,
god, yeah. I don't know.
I think I like some things in it, but there are definitely some things that ZOS does a lot better.
Mm.
So I'm kind of on the fence.
There
Like I
is
like
a lot.
I'm
of
already
similarity.
doing it in ESO
Yeah.
with the Tamriel Crown Exchange. So if they made it a mechanic that's built into the system, I think they'll see more people use it. Whereas like the Crown
Mm.
Exchange is user run, so it would just cut
I
the
f-
middleman out.
I think the reason that the whole like gold to gem exchange, so gems are like crowns in Guild Wars 2, if you don't know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about, and is a thing where they're like, okay, well, you know, if people are grinding gold, they're playing the game, there's population, which is, you know, I feel like that's where they're coming from with this, and then they can spend gems, and you know, and the cycle goes round. There's more people playing the game, and you know, it entices them to maybe purchase more or whatever. But it's like, I think I'm not sure I agree with you on terms of like, I feel like the ESO Crown store and the Guild Wars 2 stores are very similar. Like, other than that whole exchange thing, which it does change it a lot. There's a lot of, you know, there's the crown packs, there's the mounts, like for the actual items, specifically, and there's services. There is a lot similar, because I still play both games very often, like every day, streaming wise as well. And I think Guild Wars 2 is almost like, because they don't have a sub and because they don't really have DLCs, their store is worse, because like they just have so much stuff in there, and it's just like you cannot earn hardly anything that looks. Well, you can earn things that should look great, like legendaries
If you grind
and
the
stuff.
holidays.
But you know, yeah, I mean, it's like you have to pay to get like the best looking skins for stuff, like for mounts and stuff. This stuff is just not earnable, and you know, to a degree, it's the same in ESO.
And I haven't touched Guild Wars since they first started the Living Story. And I was
it's
I was getting
lot
into
different.
fractals. It was like, oh, this is cool. It's actually
Yeah.
hard. And then I got to like, I can't remember what agony level I got to, and I was just like, okay, it's getting to the part where I can't pug it and I can't carry the pug as a ranger with spirits. And then my friends who were playing it decided to quit. So, and then we waited, and the end game content just was not where we wanted it. We wanted a more traditional Trinity-based raid scenario thing, and that's why we got into ESO more.
So you need to go and check out the gem store now then, because it's very similar to ESO.
Trinity-based being healing, tank, DPS.
Yeah.
It's a lot similar now.
I did check it out recently because my boyfriend wanted to try it out and give Necromancer a look, and it did definitely look a lot similar. And the in-game economy looked like hell in terms of like how much inflation there is for gold to gems. And that's what got me originally. And I was like, oh my God. And all my characters were broke and they looked hideous. And
you're just like, oh
and
God.
The amount of dyes that were one-time uses and everything, I was just like, oh my God, I forgot why I got out of this game. But at least out of those two games, Zos's ESO and Guild Wars 2, none of them will ever be as heinous and nickel and dimey as SOTOR. God bless those people. An amazing game, amazing storyline, but you literally have to pay $1.50 if you want to have something unlocked.
I quit. I do this show called the MMO Journey, right? So I go and play MMOs, and I play them for, I don't know if you were there when I did this, but I play them for like a day or two, and if I enjoy them, I play them for longer and see how high level I can get. Now I agree with you. Star Wars has got Star Wars: The Old Republic has a great story. And like I enjoyed it, it was fun. But then I got to a point, and I like my PvP. People know this. You can play 5 games of PvP a week, and then you have to pay money. And I uninstalled the game as soon as I found that out. I'd been playing for 3 days. I got invested in my character. I was like, I'm really enjoying this. And then I was like, what the, this is just awful. Like I just felt bad. I was just like, I'm not doing this. Screw this, man. I mean, it's like, I'm just this is the free version, and okay, yeah, I feel like I should be paying for something. Like I'm playing for free, sure, but 5 games of PvP, that's nothing. That's like 40 minutes.
And that pass, you can buy the pass, but it's only good for the week. It's an unlimited week pass. And you can get their cartel coins through in-game actions one time. Like you get cartel coin when your character hits certain level cap mile marks and when you do certain like hard achievements, and that's it. So, or you can get cartel coins for having an authenticator on your account. So I logged into it recently on May the 4th because they always do like a special pet with their cantinas. So I was just like, okay, I'll just check out my account, and I had an authenticator on my account for 4 years almost. So I had all the
be with you. That's a good time to have a
it's
sale.
So cute.
Come on.
And they know
Revenge
it.
of the Sith. Okay.
Yeah, they know it. And so I logged in there and I had so many cartel coins. I could literally buy whatever I want. I was like, oh, I can play free now and not feel like I'm grinding endlessly. So the cartel coin system is a hot mess, and we can always be thankful that Zos is never going to be that bad, ever.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't think they will. I think it's very doubtful. It's definitely, it's EA, right?
It's definitely EA. God bless BioWare Steve Austin. You guys are BioWare Austin. You guys are doing the best you can, but EA's got you on a tight leash.
Okay, so ESO Plus, I mean, that is my only quibble, and it's like I still feel like ESO Plus is completely worth it for all the DLCs that you get and all the future stuff and the things that get put down into the ESO Plus as well. There's Somerset, there's Morrowind, Elsewhere will go in there when the next one comes out. The next DLC which is coming out soon, that'll be on there, so you get it for free if you've got ESO Plus. And it is very good, for that value and the extra bank space and everything else. I think a little taster for like brand new players to have like a very minimal 50 slots per item maybe, or 20 slots per item, just to give them a little bit of space earlier on in the game. And that's more for the new player experience, which we talked about before on a different podcast. Which I feel would just be nice. Just be like, guys, hey, you've got these free slots for this. Maybe think about ESO Plus if you want to, think about doing anything else in the game and not having a meal. Right, so that's just my personal opinion though. What else? We've got there's loads and loads of stuff. I feel like I want to talk about housing because time, funnily enough, is actually kind of attacking me in the face. So housing, apparently there's only 4 notable homes you can buy for gold at the moment? Or not even at the moment, or just generally?
It's like all the
original 4?
Yeah, the original 4, and then the Fall Creek one, which you have to have the DLC or ESO Plus to get, and you have to complete the dungeon at least on Bet.
Okay.
You have to complete both of them.
And there is a house at the moment on the store. It's Earth Tier Cavern, I believe. And you can buy this unfurnished for 13,000 crowns or furnished for 16,300 crowns. But you can't buy it unfurnished with gold. I think it's about $120 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. 117 I came out with unfurnished.
Well, I mean,
furnished.
If you're buying straight packs without ESO Plus and without sales,
that's the thing. They do a 14,000 pack, which isn't quite enough. And then
they know
a
it.
21,000 pack, which is too much. So
yes,
if you look at it from that perspective, it's a $150 house US.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's and that's the in between. That's where I'm gonna use the phrase. That's
Unless you wait for a crown sale.
Exactly.
40% off if you buy the big pack.
And that's when people, you should, if you're thinking about a big purchase like a house, that's probably the time. Unless you've got the cash and you just really want to support. So that's like then do.
And most people are only going to buy one house. They're not like
yeah.
housing professionals like me. I got my one notable home. I'm happy. I'm stuck with it. I'm never going to buy another notable home, probably, unless they come out with like something super, super particular. So
Don't get you yet.
and most people are the average consumer is only going to buy one notable home. Then you have the whales that are buying either all of the notable homes or multiple notable homes at given periods of time. They're just designing these based off of different targeted audiences within the lore as well as the styles that they want. It's very smart in terms of a business end of things. And they are slowly starting to release more gold buy / earnables. Like you have that one that's in Elsewhere now that you get through just doing content, which is God bless. But $150 for a notable home. I don't know. That's a big yikes for me.
And you can earn some of these houses. And I think this is good, and I wish this was around more, that you can earn these things. I mean, I remember I did 52 quests in. What is it called? Someone on chat remind me. It was for the guild house, and I did that, and we saved up as a community with 4 gold, which was really, really good. And we bought it, and now we kind of furnish it lightly ourselves. People do a great job of doing that, and we all donate towards it. I thought this was this gives your community something to do. It's a really good focus. That is cool. But there is a limit on the amount of things you can purchase with gold, like Sal's been saying as well. And Ninja does a lot. NinjaMonkey does a lot of housing. How do you feel like about? I mean, you spend a lot on the store, right? I mean, this is a lot of what your content is on Twitch, right? And
oh yeah,
and it is your big interest.
Everything we do in the game is to work towards better and gooder housing.
Gooder housing.
Yes, better and gooder being separate things. That's why there's an and in the middle.
Glenumbra. Okay, yeah, that's the one where I did the quests. That's right. So, you're a good person to speak to in terms of this is one of the reasons why I asked you to be here, other than just being awesome. How do you feel about the crown store when it comes to housing? Is this, there's your specific situation, obviously, where you say, you don't mind spending the money because you're supporting the game and this is the content you do and this is all good. But as someone where, predominantly a lot of this stuff exists, how does it make you feel to, spend money on housing? Like, this is the content I enjoy the most, but I have to pay money for it. And I know you don't have to do that for
So-
everything.
So we're talking about the concept of something being cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Okay. Something will eventually be cost prohibitive, even if you're a millionaire. But let's focus on the concept for just a second. It adds an interesting aspect to the game because if there's little to no resistance, if there's no drama in the game, in any aspect of the game, not just housing, it makes it boring. You know what I mean? A certain level of automation takes away interest from the game.
Okay.
So just having the Crown Store available for housing items adds two very interesting aspects to the game. One, what is cost prohibitive? And B, how much can you get away with in your budget? Which is really, really fun. A couple of my friends have plenty of money. IRL, 6 figures a year, no problem. But their quest in life is to build the cheapest, coolest house they possibly can. So it adds like this very interesting dynamic. Whereas somebody like me, where things can get quite cost prohibitive, it's very challenging to me to make the most elaborate place I can within my budget. Being much smaller than their budget, it's kind of fun to see what we can come up with. So yeah, from a challenge perspective, it's very interesting, very entertaining to get into and think about. And these houses, they evolve over the course of a month. Earning the gold, earning the money, finding out different crown packs that are coming out, different furnishings that are happening. Oh, I really want that shiny thing, but it's behind a achievement. I have to go out and I have to go get that achievement before I can bring all these items together and assemble a house over the course of a weekend. If you're a fast builder, you were talking about lightly decorating your guild hall. How long have you been doing that for? It can be very engaging over a long period of time. And that's why I call it endgame. Housing is best done. You can start it right at the beginning of the game. Get a tiny house, put modest furnishings in there, but it's best done end game content when you've got a lot of achievements, a lot of gold, a lot of friends who can help you craft things, a lot of patterns. So yeah, the Crown Store, very interesting aspect of housing.
An interesting aspect of housing. But how do you feel? Like, is it expensive? Like, is it worth it? Is it like these simple, like, if you want to buy a chair, is it worth $10?
That backs up to my last argument.
Yeah.
If you're not sitting in a field meditating and spending all your money on cancer research, no, there is no value added to society. It's entertainment only. And you should definitely work within your budget. And that's going to be my answer. You know what I mean?
Time.
So
work
within your budget and do the best you can. Make the most flamboyant, outrageous, amazing house possible. And then show it to me because I want to see how you did it.
So how do you feel then with like the Crown exclusive pieces then? Is that
Love
following?
Love them.
You feel that it's
their
good?
excuse that they use from ZOS is that they want a feeling of exclusivity. Are
you being sarcastic or are you being serious?
No. Making things cost prohibitive brings a level of exclusivity. So I can bring you over to my Lingel Grand Manor that you can't afford. Look at my amazing thing that you don't have.
Oh, that's like real life. How amazing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's horrible. I don't like that feeling. I do not like that.
It's the hobby.
I don't like that, some people are rolling around a Bugatti Veyron, and I'd be lucky if I got a used Honda Civic right now. It's a little tiny topic, huge implications.
There's a lot of psychological implications that are implied with it, and the fact that like there are housing dedicated streamers out there is in itself a way to sell the housing market, and how players go, oh my god, this house is amazing, this pirate ship and everything, that it's $200 and it's decorated so amazing. But on top of that, there's the exclusive items, but then there's also, like you said, it's a great in-game grind. I really appreciate it for an in-game economy dump, because I have like so many Regulus and so much wax and I don't know what to do with it. So I just sit there and I make housing stuff with my items because I'm
There you go.
drowning in materials from Brits. So it's a balance as well as an economy maker for Zos's budget. But it's how much is too much, how much is too little kind of thing versus the exclusivity and how much can be earned through crowns versus how much should we be allowed to earn through doing game content.
Yeah, they got an algorithm for this thing, right? You spent some years in the gaming
Mhm.
industry, so yeah, they plug that in and see what market tolerance is and what they can get away with. But
Mhm.
I think I asked earlier in the show, would you buy a $1,000 US house? Because that's an extreme, right? $150 right now. We're all like, oh my gosh, $150
For a digital house.
for a digital area for you to put more furnishings in that you're probably going to spend more crowns on. Would you do $1,000?
For a digital house or a real house?
What's market tolerance?
For real house, yeah, of course.
What's cost prohibitive and exclusivity? Because if they can get away with selling $1,000 house,
Not
it'll be
even
in
if
the
I
crown
had
store
the money.
tomorrow.
I would probably I did the crown sale for Christmas. I did the Telvanni house for my boyfriend for his Telvanni Magister character. We were super roleplay into it. And I think it came out to like, with the crowns that were on sale, it came out to like $80 plus a pack. So another $20 on top of that. So, but that was my market tolerance, I guess you could say, me personally, because I don't do housing a lot and he doesn't even play the game anymore. So
Oh damn, that sucks. You should really bring that up this Christmas. Be like, I'm not buying you nothing else unless you get back in your house. You start fucking, putting stuff in there.
Language, first of all.
Oh god, yeah, Jesus, sorry.
This is a Christian Minecraft server. Watch your fucking
Podcast. I'm sorry. I used the F bomb once in the cast. That was my F bomb. It's passionate though. It's a gift, Yeah, I'm joking.
and again, I'm talking housing as a hobby and B end game content. I don't think anybody new to the game should be dumping assets, resources, time, energy into this part of the game because it comes to kind of world building. Well, you haven't explored the whole world yet. Go explore the whole world. Go play all the BGs. Go run around in Cyrodiil and get your butt whooped in end game trials. Then get into housing.
would you say
that's my opinion. That's what I would advise for the best gaming experience over the course of your time here in Tamriel.
so? A lot of the housing items that you can get in there, we know, can be crafted by just taking a little extra time, either A, farming, or B, buying it from other players with the auction systems. But would you say it's slightly predatory for players who don't want to invest that kind of time for them to buy it with crowns, or would you say that it's paying for laziness?
I think there's a wrong way to do everything. And I think the right way to do that, not to sidestep your question, but to address it directly, is to get to be part of a community that does housing, that enjoys housing, that does crafting, that shares freely crafting supplies and or furniture items, and get involved. Certainly you can be an isolationist and dump your entire paycheck into this thing and not have to talk to another person, but it's an MMO. We're meant to interact, and I encourage people to do that. Go find a group of people that are doing this, and with the new guild finder, I think that's easier than ever to do.
So would you say with the guild finder and the social features, you would say most average players are at least likely to buy the 25 crown Breton table stand now instead of asking Phil to go make it for them? Or do you think that there are still people out there that will do it?
Wrong way to do everything. Yeah. I've seen plenty of streamers who are not housing streamers exclusively build houses out of the crown store. If it's in your budget, that's nice, but I don't think it's a responsible thing to do. I think it deadens the fun of it. Yeah, you get the house, but there's a lot to be said for community, to be part of a community, to involve yourself in a community, to the point where they can help you, you can help them. You know what I mean? And ultimately, if you're buying all this stuff, who are you showing it to? Which is almost the best part of housing. Inviting your friends over to run around and throw mud balls at each other while you're while you're doing it. And if they helped you build it, if they donated that one shiny piece in the corner, right? Like they're better for it. They have a more enjoyable time, and so do you. So yes, people do that. I wouldn't advise it. I don't think it's a good idea.
I mean, these are at least there's like that option. I know what you're kind of like trying to get.
And we are talking about the things that can be crafted. There are things that cannot.
These can be crafted, and I think it's a little predatory that you could buy it with crowns. Is my huge caveat.
You know,
with it.
Some people have 18 hours a week to dump on a video game. Some people are, professionals.
2 hours, yeah,
and can only do 2 hours.
If you have the option,
if you've got the money, and it's part of your, budget. Again, I like throwing that word around. Do it.
If it's part of the budget.
I think you'll get way more enjoyment if you become part of a community. Even if you're that 2 hour gamer, I would push you that direction. Go find some people who enjoy this and will help you with it.
I think the problem I have is maybe that when you have, and this is something in Guild Wars and other MMOs or the games in general, is when you can have to I can only buy something, we'll be finishing. We can finish on this point if you need to go. That's all good. But basically, like on the store, if you can only purchase something, and you can't earn it in game. That's a big thing for me. Like, and it looks better, and if it's more flashy. I think that is something which I'm not massively happy about. But it exists in so many games, and that doesn't mean it's okay. And I know a lot of people feel that way, especially in like end game, where they're like, I earned this skin by doing this crazy thing, this speed run, no death, la la la, and I get this skin, and now they can buy it in the store, and it's like, well, what differentiates me from that other person? Oh, it's an achievement, but who's gonna say that? They see this skin.
Individualism is a really weird thing in Western culture. I understand the desire to stand out, but
yeah,
I don't know.
They want something for their achievements. I think it's something people, it's a human thing. We like to, and again, that's very general. That's a very general sweeping statement.
Well, and just a broad statement, not necessarily on topic, but how would you feel about holding up a trophy by yourself in a picture versus holding up a trophy with a group of people?
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Like,
I mean,
how does that make you feel?
I mean,
Do you feel better in the group or individually?
I would feel better in the group, but I think these ones are, and again, it's your own personal thing. I would rather earn that with people, and personally, again, I don't give a crap. Like, I don't actually care personally, but these things exist for people where they generally want to earn something, like, and they've worked their asses off to earn that thing, and but like you said, it's similar to the you can't spend that much time in the game. Maybe they haven't got that time to do that thing, but sometimes maybe things shouldn't be able to be earned by money. Maybe money is not the answer to everything in the game, and it probably shouldn't be, maybe. But again, it's your own enjoyment, how you want to, what you get out of it, the community, people, and that's what essentially I think an MMORPG is.
And I really like your answer to that, and where I was kind of going with that is some things can just be crowdsourced, even if it is crown exclusive, even if it is gold exclusive, even if it is achievement exclusive. You can crowdsource these things, be a part of the community, grow together, and you'll have a better time, not just in ESO, but in life.
We're going for life.
God, that sounded cheesy.
No, you didn't. You're fine.
I mean, think of like the best skins right now in the game. What looks super good? Some of the best skin. VMAL, you have to have.
VMAL is the best skin.
You at least have to have 12 other friends. At least you have to have friends to get those.
No, I paid for a run.
Oh, you paid for a run. Okay. Well, you had to pay 12 other people.
Did you?
These
11.
skins, 11. Whatever.
Yes, we have
hacked instances, but these skins, the best looking skins, in my opinion, have always been the achievement ones, with the exception
sure.
of Fall
For
Creek,
sure.
because that one's creepy. But
I don't like the Sunspire one either. I got it. I
Sunspire-
put it on for a second. I'm like, I look like an otter pop. Off.
I mean, they're trying really hard to make sure that these achievement skins look good versus the crown score skins.
There is a difference. There is a slight difference, thankfully.
They're trying. They're really trying, and they need to keep trying. Is what I'm saying, because they just released the Obsidian one, and it looks kind of like a toned down version of the Cloudrest one, but it's also just a reskin of the Spider Kiff.
614 was really like pounding that home when he was opening his crates. He was talking about how so similar it looks to the VCR skin.
People don't know the difference as well. Like
he'll just put it on and nobody will care from a distance. But again, that's that trophy thing.
Mhm.
If you're putting it on because it's a trophy, I don't know how far you're going to get with that. If you're putting it on because it's aesthetically pleasing, I put more value in that.
I have mixed feelings on it. The community.
I would hope so. It's a complicated issue.
The community, especially in the PvE community, there are some toxic ideals that if you do not have these skins, you cannot do content. If you don't come to my raid if you don't have silver. Don't talk to me if you don't have.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
And that's the toxic end versus like the other end where it's like I need my fashion. Like I love my VHOF skin. It's beautiful. It's gold, and I do gold dye because I have the dyes from doing jewelry crafting. So, but like. It's less impressive to some PvEers because people can farm VHOF now, but I don't care anymore.
Those are the sucky people.
And then you have
no, exactly. That's the point I was getting at. I love it when guilds or whatever put these really high strict standards on their community so I can weed out the tools faster.
Yes, exactly. Play like
even if I have the skin, I then go.
I think you have to be very careful.
Not the community I want to be with.
Have to be very careful here as well, not to alienate people, because people are different, and they have their interests, and there are those hardcore people. We are we are focused.
It's not just hardcore. There is content in the game where if you don't meet a certain standard
performance level,
we're not going to pass the content,
and people want to do that.
It's not that
in
you can't come. We want you to get better, and you can come.
And it's
but you got to L2P, man. You got to learn how to light attack weave or whatever.
You got to make a certain number.
Friend.
Yeah, you got to hump that dummy. Like there are some dungeons, and there are some trials where you literally have to meet a amount of DPS roll to defeat it. Like
and
think of the hard modes.
If we don't have that really, really exclusive hard end game content, Alcast is going to go play something else.
I mean, because those are kinds of that. It's a different type of player base. Sauce is balancing and juggling a lot of player base. If you think about it,
they're doing a great job.
They are.
I mean, I'm super naive. I haven't spent nearly the amount of time behind the curtains that you have, but I really feel like I'm at least being placated sufficiently.
Yeah, I agree with some comments in chat. Like that attitude is it can be destructive, but it also doesn't need to be. Like there is there's a competitive, like some MMOs have had like competitive esports, like WoW had their dungeon runs where technically it's almost like an esport as well, where people commentate and people run dungeons, and that's a very exclusive kind of. It's almost seen as there's always toxic sides to different parts of communities.
Sure, and people are going to take everything too seriously.
Yeah, they will.
I'm pretty sure there's toxic parts of housing. Oh, you're using crafted Breton. Ugh.
Is there toxic parts of housing?
There are very much RP exclusive people where if you're not using collision and gravity and RP, like this is an orc house. You need all orc furnishings arranged in a certain way.
That's amazing. I mean, that's cool.
Different levels. Yeah. You know what I mean? For sure, for everything, and people will make things needlessly complex on purpose to keep their own interests.
I want to know these people.
I don't fault them for.
I want to know them.
Whenever I find a group that's a little too extreme, I back out. I can't take anything that seriously, as you can tell from the conversation. But
that's it. there are the audiences and the people for those, for those communities. And I think,
Yeah.
it's we might not be, we're very community, I think, centric people. Like, I don't want to assume, but I can, from what Ninja said, and, sound like we stream on Twitch, we talked about just before we came on here, we were talking about games we play with our communities and different stuff. I think I can say that without, like, asking your opinion right now. We like community stuff.
Oh no, I'm very introverted. I like to hide in my houses.
I mean, you
me
can
and my
definitely be
closest 700
community
friends.
orientated and be introverted. Don't worry about that. I'm quite introverted at times, and there is, like, and people might not believe that, but you can definitely be introverted and be involved in the community. But there's different
very
levels.
introverted.
But it's it's difficult to. There's so many people that enjoy the game. I think as long as people are respectful and not arseholes to each other, like, I'm good. Don't be a dick is a really good rule for life in general. I think we're gonna kind of wind it up now, because I know Sound's gonna go, and like it's been about 2 hours now as well. Is there anything you guys wanted? There's so much that I have on this as ever. So much other stuff that I could talk about. There's things like, sky shards. Are they worth it in zones, for example? Is it good? Is it bad? Like, again, it's an option if you can spend
you mean
the
like
money.
buying the sky shards if
Yeah,
one character
Buying the skill points and everything.
Okay, so
And the lines.
Let's go real quick. But we talked about predatory practices, stuff like that, and people can definitely overspend. I appreciate never having to go to Cyrodiil again.
There you go.
Yes.
Ever again.
So for people who have really strong wills, it's great because, Cyrodiil sucks. We can all agree right now. Some people like it.
For sky shard hunting.
For sky shard hunting, Cyrodiil sucks.
Or fishing.
Or fishing. But, like, I feel like for people who have weaker wills or people who are easily frustrated by playing the game for doing, like, tasks like that, they may spend more than they should have. And I feel the fact that it is there, it's kind of like, you're on a diet and there's a thing of ice cream there. Your will break. It's a matter of what time, when kind of thing. And we should be respected as individuals. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know that it's not a pay to win per se, because you have to have done it.
Yes, you have to have done it once.
Which
I appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will admit I paid for Sijic on a new alt because I'm never doing Sijic ever again.
Because after the 6th time, the auger's
Yes.
no longer funny.
I have done it probably about 6 times now, so
I can't do it
like
anymore.
screw it.
I've only
But
done it once.
I had the crowns. It was my monthly sub allotment. I allowed myself to do that.
Yeah.
But for other people, it could be predatory. So I have.
He's always funny.
Oh
No, he's not.
my god, he's the funniest skeleton ever.
No, he isn't. Make a second account and go through it again. Liar.
Liar.
No CP.
I'm not trying to
Straight
drag
up
this. I'm not trying to drag this.
No.
Okay, right, and the lines. Okay, so it's a similar opinion. I think, for both things, you at least you have to do it once. That's cool, so you get to experience it. If you want to buy it again because you don't want to do it again, you're repeating something. You have that option. People don't have to go into PvP necessarily that don't want to get those things, which is a big complaint for a while. I think that's fine. It's up to people. Is it too expensive? That's another subject again. That's your own personal value. What do you place it? Is it your, how much of your time are you going to spend, leveling up this line and this shards? Like, how much is your time worth? Have you got the money, budget? Like, we've been saying, educate yourself. Can you afford it? Is it worth it? If it is, do it. If it's not, and you feel pretty crappy doing it, then that's you telling yourself that you shouldn't be doing it. That's a good point. The banker skin, one point which was Rita mentioned to me last night when we were talking, having to pay the full amount for a banker when you already have one, but you just want a cat as a banker rather than an actual just person.
It's an Elfique, thank you.
That's and these different things. I think you have to weigh up. I think a lot of this, what we're talking about today, because I'm going to wrap it up solidly now, is that you have control. You have control over your money. Okay, you have control over your money. Whether or not you have kids that have access to your credit card online, you still have control of your money. You can put parental locks on these things where, for other stuff, obviously you can, you can deal out your credit cards, for your kids or the people that don't have them, and you can help people spend money on things, but you still have control over this stuff. You can still manage it, no matter what. We're all adults, and obviously when kids have access to this stuff, it's not the greatest thing, but there's responsibility passed on to people who take care of those children, and we all just have to be more educated and more aware of what we're spending our money on, and maybe think if this doesn't feel good, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. And if I don't like this thing, don't do it. Think with your wallet, which is what many people say.
Reach out to people that you think they're spending too much.
Yes.
They're probably depressed and spending too much.
Indeed. That is a good point.
Be that friend to talk to them. Be like, hey, man, you just dumped like $300 in the game 2 months in a row. You okay, fam? You know, like we need to not be afraid.
I'm fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
But don't judge them.
Okay.
Don't judge them for it. It's important that you do not judge.
But
them.
I mean,
I need constant attention. But yeah, I'm
because like we need to the dialogue for the mental health. Different people need to be just approached different ways, obviously. But like for me, if I had somebody asking me, be like, "Hey, you just bought 16 character slots in Guild Wars 2. What's up?" And you're eating ramen.
Yeah.
What's your priorities, kid?
okay, lady. I love ramen. Okay,
Don't
dial it back.
I think as long as
that may be a red flag for some people, but
with
I actually enjoy it.
anything, like on a serious note though, if you're ever worried about anyone, as long as you approach them in a way where you talk to them on the same level as you want to be talked to yourself, and you are not judgmental and you're respectful, and you show genuine empathy and care, that person will understand. They may feel if there's a judgment there. If you've done that, then the judgment is on themselves. And there's not much you can do about that, unfortunately. But just generally, I think just use your brain.
On the other end, please reach out. Please reach out. I've lost too many friends. Please.
Yeah.
Reach out.
It really does go to like
Depression makes you do ugly things, and
this is true.
reaching out is very important.
And we are probably 3 people that you could probably do that to as well. You've got our Twitch. I'm not saying that to everyone in the world. Please don't message me.
I would like to add a disclaimer to that. On Twitch, streamers are a form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your friends.
Bring into the DMs.
Talk to a professional. There's hotlines. There's all sorts of resources. Start there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're not professionals. Jebro's working on it.
Yeah, I will be.
Talk to him.
When he gets there, then that will be a good time to reach out to Jebro.
When I have a license in America, you can do that. If you're in Europe, it's okay.
Don't go up to Tom Cruise and start, seeking for validation. Start closer to home.
Well said. Okay.
But definitely reach out.
Yes, that is the very, very important thing. And we are now going to go Sound and NinjaMonkey. We are going to exit. So tell us quickly, where can we find you, Sound? Where can we find you? What time during the week, maybe? Twitch channel?
Sound Illustrations. I stream from 7:30 to late weekdays and on Sundays. I'm also on Twitter with Sounds Not Straight, spelled STR8, and you can hang out with me there. We play games. We do ESO. We do Pokemon, and I'd love to have y'all.
There you go. Awesome. NinjaMonkey.
NinjaMonkey0169, Housing Mancer Extraordinaire. You can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, console, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all at NinjaMonkey0169. I've been very fortunate to be able to keep my name all the way across platform, and drop follows and subs wherever it's free.
It's free. Do the thing exactly. Go and follow these people. Check them out, especially if you
do the free stuff, and only subscribe and pay money for entertainment that you believe in. That includes my channel.
And that includes the housing store. And the housing store, that includes the ground store. Sorry.
Vote with your wallet.
Indeed.
I'm down.
That's what it's about. Okay, guys. So that's going to be the end of the podcast. Quick sell for me. I do put this podcast on every 2 weeks mostly. This is the 16th episode. It has been about the Crown Source specifically. If you do want to follow me and come and watch the show live every other week, or just if you want to come and watch daily, which I do, this is a full-time employment opportunity, I will say, then you can come over to twitch.tv/JebroUnity. I am in Pacific time on the west coast of America, although I am English, obviously, and doing many, many different things. So if you want to come and join us, then you are more than welcome to, but I would definitely say that you should absolutely go and follow these guys wherever you can. Their information will be in the description below this on YouTube, on Spotify, on Anchor, on Twitch VOD, and everything else. Otherwise, this has been the New Companions on the 22nd of September 2019. This has been episode 16. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you next time.